welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rachel. I'm really glad that you clicked on this video. So for today's video, we are all still in quarantine. I have watched a lot of videos, a lot of shows, a lot of movies. So I decided to compile for you, based on my favorites and my friends' favorites, a list of 41 TV shows to binge watch during quarantine. So here are 41 TV shows to binge watch during quarantine. Let's go. Number 1 is Boy Meets World, a throwback. It's basically a 90s sitcom about a boy named Corey Mack, and it's basically him just like living his life. All these crazy things happen, the realities of life also happening, and you just want a show that's gonna make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And it has a spin-off, Girl Meets World, which I grew up with, that I'm sure a lot of you grew up with, that you can watch right after, where they're basically parents. Really, really cute. Just watch the whole show and like you see Corey Matthews grow up, which you'll see yourself in a lot of it. So definitely recommend that. Number 2 is Friends, and I don't know if you're an actual human being if you haven't heard of Friends. It's basically another 90s sitcom, and it's about 6 friends who live in Manhattan together, and they basically go through every life experience possible, and it's just insane. And there's so many plots, and it's kind of hilarious but also kind of heartbreaking certain moments. And they also have a Lego set, which I may or may not have built. Number 3 is Victorious, and if you grew up with my childhood, which I feel like we all have the same childhood, this was the soundtrack to your childhood. It's basically about Tori Vega, and she has to take her older sister Trina's place in a showcase for her sister's school called Hollywood Art. After that, she's asked to go to the school, and it's basically all these crazy adventures that happen with her and her friends. There's Ariana Grande, that's where she got her start, and Liz Gillies, who plays Jade West, one of the most iconic characters in all time in my opinion. I love them. If you want to watch something brain-numbing where you don't actually have to pay attention, but it's still cute, definitely check out Victoria. Coming in at number 4 with 21 seasons, all of which I have watched, Law and Order SVU. So if you're like me and you're a crime junkie and you love crime shows, you avidly watch as many as possible. You watch so many. And if you're dedicated, because 21 seasons is a lot. What I'm up to, it's Lieutenant Olivia Benson. Starts out as a detective. Sorry for the spoiler, but it's pretty obvious. And she basically leads a team that will solve the city of New York's worst crimes. Anything you can think of. It'll be violence against women, violence against children, sexual assault, all these different types of things. And it's so interesting to see the background of how these crimes work. It's based on a real precinct in New York City. It deals with religion, it deals with politics, it deals with gender identity, it deals with so many different things, and it pulls a lot of its plots straight from the headlines. So you're mind blown because you're seeing your real life in a TV show. So definitely go check out Law and Order. At number 5, we got another crime show. It's Criminal Minds. This one is super cool because it focuses on a unit within the FBI called the Profilers, who basically figure out who the perpetrator of the crime is based on their victims. They analyze the country's most twisted criminal minds. Also, Penelope Garcia is an absolute queen. I love her. Derek Morgan. Spencer Reed, excuse me. It's kind of gory, so be careful. But for those of you who haven't checked it out, love crime just like me, this is definitely the next one on your list. And number 6, we have what I'm currently watching for the second time in my life, Bone. Its main female lead isn't this like warm and fuzzy girl. You know, she focuses on the facts. She's very rational. She's a forensic anthropologist named Dr. Temperance Brennan, and what she does is she uses the skeletons of victims and figure out how a murder was committed, who possibly could have committed the murder, who was the victim. And she works hand in hand with Special Agent Celie Booth from the FBI. The one issue I have is one couple does not get together till season 6, and it's very irritating, but it's fine. I'm almost there. I just know that from watching it before, but I'm almost there. Definitely go check out Bone. Number 7 is another crime show, White Collar. It focuses on the unlikely partnership of Neil Caffrey, I think is how you pronounce it. I watched a show a while ago, who's this like charming con man who became a consultant for the FBI. And Peter Burke is the federal agent in charge of keeping him on the straight and narrow, and he basically uses his conman skills in order to solve cases with Peter Burke. Number 8, we've got another crime show because I kind of have these in like category a little bit, NCIS. And this show is really cool because it focuses on the Navy. Naval Criminal Investigative Services, Washington, D.C.'s major response team. We're introduced to so many different agents throughout, but there are 2 like agents I love. Ziva, she's a former Mossad agent, and Tony, who's just adorable. It's crimes focused just on within the Navy in Washington, D.C. So it's really cool, and go watch it. Coming in at number 9, we have Lucifer, which is like low-key a crime show, also drama. If you haven't watched this, you're probably like the 1% in the world who hasn't. It is so good. I got my father into it. This is on Lucifer Morningstar, who's this powerful angel who was cast out of heaven by his father, which is, you know, God. So he essentially becomes the devil. Defiance to his father, he resigns his throne in hell, I guess, and runs to Los Angeles, where he opens up a nightclub. He becomes involved in a murder case with Detective Chloe Decker, and he is then invited to be a consultant to the LAPD and solves a bunch of cases with Detective Decker. And throughout the whole series, a bunch of demonic threats come to Los Angeles. Stop my video and go watch it. Why didn't you stop? Go. Okay. Number 10, we are almost a quarter of the way there. We have Scandal, this ISIS manager who has an affair with the president, and she employs like really like sketchy people. I don't even know how to like adequately describe the show. There's a love triangle. I know we all love love triangles. Watch it. And there's this crossover episode with the next show, number 11, How to Get Away with Murder. This is actually a legal show. It focuses on Annalise Keating, who along with her law students gets involved in basically a bunch of murders. And the way the show is shot is really cool. It's like shot in the past and in the present. Oh, and Annalise is a criminal defense professor, which makes this hilarious. Coming in at number 12, we have Designated Survivor. Now, I haven't watched the entire show, but from what I watched, it was very, very good. It's basically about this guy, Tom Kirkman, and he's the Secretary of like Urban Development and Housing for the president, so very low on the rung. All of a sudden, after a mass terrorist attack at the State of the Union address in Washington, D.C., which leaves much everyone dead, he is catapulted to being the president of the United States overnight and dealing with his terrorist attack. Our team, we have Grey's Anatomy. If you don't know what Grey's Anatomy is, just like, I don't know who you are. Just who are you? It's a medical drama centered around Dr. Meredith Grey. She begins the show as an aspiring surgeon and the daughter of one of the most acclaimed surgeons, Dr. Ellis Grey. For the series, she basically goes through a bunch of personal and professional challenges. And when I say challenges, I mean like your heart will get ripped out if you dozen times. You'll get hooked, and you definitely should watch it if you're into medicine and drama and hot guys. Number 14 is actually a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy. It's called Private Practice. It focuses on one of the characters who left the show, Addison Montgomery. Very different than a hospital-based show, but it has that same like drama. Teen is Stranger Things. Now, I've never personally watched this show, but my friends have and love it, so they told me to put it on the list. I'm gonna read for you the little blur because I have no idea what the show is about. Hawkins, Indiana, 1983. A young boy, Will Byers, goes missing near a top-secret government laboratory. As friends, family, and local police search for answers, they are drawn into an extraordinary mystery involving top-secret government experiments, terrifying supernatural forces, and one very strange little girl. I think that little girl is Millie Bobby Brown. People seem to like it, so like, why not check it out? Number 16 is That 70s Show. Basically a comedy revolving around a group of teenage friends growing up in the 70s, shot in the 90s. The head of the group is Eric Foreman, and who lives with his parents, Kitty and Red. And you're basically just following them throughout their high school lives and seeing all the crazy stuff they get into. Spoiler alert, skip through this. But I actually had to stop watching the show because one couple broke up, and I know a lot of people who had to stop watching the show because they were so made for each other. Jackie and Hyde, they just complete each other. They made each other better people. I just don't know why the writers did that. At number 17, this is actually a show I tried watching, couldn't get through. Everyone seems to love it. I'm not everyone, but whatever. The Office. Basically a mockumentary. Typical office workers who sell paper. They're led by Michael Scott, and it's basically just like their inappropriate behavior, their ego clashes, like the crazy stuff they get into. You guys may like it, so go check it out. Number 18 is Dear in My Heart. It is so good. Gossip Girl. Gossip Girl basically follows the lives of privileged teenagers on the Upper East Side. Gossip Girl basically leads you through the life of the overpriced, luxurious Upper East Side. The plot is amazing. Amazing. There's some things that are just wacky, like I don't agree with, but the show overall is, spoiler alert, whatever. Blair and Chuck have topped my list. They're pretty much up there for my favorite couple in TV series. Gossip Girl is a 15 out of 10. You need to go watch it. And number 19, we have The Vampire Diaries, another young adult classic. It follows the life of Elena Gilbert, who's a teenage girl who just lost both her parents in a car accident, and she meets and falls in love with an 162-year-old vampire named Stefan Salvatore, and there's his brother Damon Salvatore. They both protect Elena as they face various villains and vampires, and it has two spin-offs actually. It has the originals, which just finished I think last year, which is based off characters introduced later in the series, and then Legacies, which is characters from the originals, children, I think. Number 20, we have Pretty Little Liars. This show is so interesting. It follows the lives of 4 high school girls whose basically clique falls apart after their leader disappears. 1 year later, they're reunited when they begin receiving creepy messages from the mysterious A. A threatens to expose their deepest secrets, and basically the whole series is them trying to unmask it. Just the ending doesn't really make sense, but it's a good show. There are good parts to it. Number 21, we have All American. I've never seen this show, but I have a friend who loves it, like lives and breathes this show. I'm gonna read you the little blurb. When a rising high school American football player from South LA is recruited to play for Beverly Hills High School, the wins, losses, and struggles of 2 families from vastly different worlds, Crenshaw and Beverly Hills, begin to collide. And this is actually inspired by the life of pro football player Spencer Paysinger. Number 22, we have Jane the Virgin. Don't be misled by the title. It is not a holy show. It is hilarious. You need to watch this. Basically like an American telenovela with a narrator, which makes it even best. Young, devout Catholic woman who's a virgin discovers that she's been accidentally artificially inseminated, so she's a pregnant virgin. There's crazy plot twist. It's just a wonderful show, so go watch it. Coming in at number 23, we have New Girl. After a bad breakup, Jess, who's like this low-key like weirdo, moves into an apartment with 3 single men. It's chaotic and hilarious, and you just don't even know like what's going on most of the time, which makes it so funny. Number 24, Once Upon a Time. So imagine if the fairy tale characters that you grew up with were actually real and cursed to live in Maine, having no idea who they were. That's what this show is. A young woman with a troubled past is drawn to this small town in Maine, and when she arrives, Henry, who's supposedly her son, says that she's the savior who's gonna restore everyone's memories and bring them back to their respective lands. Almost every single story that you can think of is in this show. There's Snow White, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Frozen, even like random fairy tales you've never heard of are in here. And the great thing is they have a lot of flashbacks to the past, so you see them living their stories and living their real lives. So definitely go check that out. Number 25, we have Switched at Birth. I watched around half the series a few years ago, but it made an imprint on me. It was so good. Basically, these 2 teenage girls discovered that they'd been switched at birth. Bay Kenish grew up in a wealthy family with a brother, and Daphne Vasquez lost her hearing as a child due to a case of meningitis and grew up in a poor neighborhood with a single mother. Basically, the whole series is them like reconciling and making up their lives after discovering, and there's lots of drama, and it's great. Go watch. Number 26, we have You. So creepy. I haven't seen the 2nd season because I don't have the stomach for it, but the 1st season was great. It follows Joe Goldberg, who's a bookstore manager in New York, who meets Guinevere Beck, who's an aspiring writer, and becomes infatuated. And in order to feed his obsession with her, he turns to social media and technology in order to essentially stalk her and eliminate any possible obstacles that stand in her way, be it her boyfriend, her best friend, anyone in her life who could keep them from being apart. This is not for the faint of heart, but it's very good. Number 27, we have Dynasty. Oh my god, this show is so good. It's a reboot of a soap opera from like the 80s. The outfits are amazing, and it's basically about an heiress named Fallon Carrington, who's played by Liz Gillies. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. If you watch this, Liz Gillies, I love you. Please be my best friend. She's basically unhappy to find out that her billionaire father, Blake Carrington, is engaged to Crystal. So Fallon enlists, people to help her. And it's amazing. The drama is insane and kind of what you'd expect of an exorbitantly wealthy family. Coming in at number 28, we have The Society. This is an original series on Netflix, and it's basically follows teenagers who have to basically run their own society after the entire rest of the population of their town has disappeared and they have no way out of the town. Teenagers have to come up with their own rules in order to survive with their very extremely limited resources. It's very dystopian. If you love dystopian novels, this is the show for you. Have mayors and doctors and be like the judge, jury, and executioner, and like all these crazy things happen. There's only 1 season, Sally. I think they're coming out with the 2nd one very, very soon, I hope. But definitely go check that out. Number 29 is Alexa and Katie. This is a very heartwarming show because it's about these 2 lifelong best friends, Alexa and Katie, who are eagerly anticipating the beginning of high school when they find out that Alexa is diagnosed with cancer. And it's basically them going through the motions and like surviving high school and surviving her diagnosis. Number 30 is On My Block. It's about these 4 bright, street savvy friends who are navigating their way through high school in this like in the inner city Los Angeles, dealing with constant danger of getting their friend out of a gang and friends turning into romance. Their lives are crazy. 31 is Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker. Untold story of black hair care mogul and pioneer Madam C.J. Walker, how she overcame hostile turn-of-the-century America, epic rivalries, tumultuous marriages, and some crazy family to become America's first female millionaire. But super inspiring. There's amazing acting. Check that out. It's great. And it's very short. It's like 4 episodes. Number 32, Glee. I got my friend to watch this, and I get updates like every 2 seconds. It's amazing. Glee, a group of ambitious misfits who try to escape the harsh realities of high school by joining their Glee club. It's a musical dramedy in which eager and ambitious students not only compete in the national, but also have to deal with the long and cruel realities of high school. The vocals, the passion, and the scandals are unmatched. I didn't even know that so many things could happen in one school and to one group of people. Number 33, we have The Good Place. The Good Place is set in the afterlife, where humans are either sent to the good place or the bad. All humans are assigned a numerical score based on their context in life, how they live their life. Were they good people? Were they bad people? The series opens with 4 people in the good place, basically enjoying their seemingly perfect lives, and such an extreme plot twist. Number 34 is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, crime comedy, I would say. It's set in the 19th precinct of New York City. It follows a team headed by the extremely serious, newly appointed Captain Raymond Holt. The detectives include Jake Peralta, who's like very immature. Then there is Amy Santiago, who's by the book, very stern, you know, teacher's pet type of girl, but extremely lovable. Hardworking but timid Charles Boyle, who's like Jake's sidekick. He's partnered with the apathetic, aggressive Rosa Diaz, and they report to Lieutenant Terry Jeffers, who's this family man and like guns of steel type of guy. It's also the civilian administrator, Gina Linetti, who hates her job and hilarious, and it's a great show. And there's obviously the serious moment. Number 35 is When They See Us, and this is another Netflix series original. It's the story of the Central Park Five, who are 5 teenagers. They are falsely accused of raping a woman in Central Park. The story begins with the crime itself, and you just feel the injustice and the hate to see their lives stolen from them. And it's just a heartbreaking story, and it opens your eyes to the realities of the world. Number 36 is another retelling of a historical event, the People vs OJ Simpson. It's the retelling of the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, and the trial of Nicole's ex-husband and NFL player OJ Simpson. And it seemed as if I was watching it in real time. The acting was just absolutely amazing. Like it stepped into history. And on that note, we have number 37, which is the assassination of Gianni Versace. An idea is the People vs OJ Simpson explores the murder of designer Gianni Versace by Andrew Cunanan. The build-up, the crime, and the aftermath are all take place in the show, and it's so creepy. It feels like you're watching it happen, but casting looks like they are clones. 38 is Charmed, and it's about a trio of sisters known as the Charmed Ones, who use the most powerful good witches of all time. They use their combined power of 3 in order to fight demons and warlocks and all these like mystic evil beings. 8 seasons, and I've watched the show 3 times, so listen to me when I'm telling you, this is amazing. Go watch it. Number 39, we have Liv and Maddie, such a throwback. I'm putting this on because I absolutely love Dove Cameron. It's a story of 2 identical twins, Liv and Maddie, and can I just say Dove Cameron played them both, which is absolutely insane and amazing acting. Liv is a popular television star whose hit show just finished its run and she's coming home to Wisconsin, and Maddie is an outstanding student and a basketball star whose like popularity is on the rise until Liv comes back home and completely flips their lives around. Basically a story about their dysfunctional family and everything that goes on, and it's great. You should watch it. Number 40 is One Tree Hill. You have not lived until you've seen the show. This has my number 1 couple of all time in there, and it's set in the fictional town of Tree Hill, North Carolina. And it follows the lives of 2 half-brothers, Nathan and Lucas Scott, who compete for positions on their school's basketball team, and the drama that ensues from romances and basically their lives, because their lives are bonkers. But Brooke Davis, who's a character in this show, is just purely the reason you should watch this, because she's just an amazing character. Another person whose character development is insane. So many different plots and storylines that you wonder how they can come up with all this, but they do somehow. 41. It is High School Musical, the musical, the series. If you've not watched this, you're probably like 1% of people who haven't watched this. A fictionalized version of East High, where the original High School Musical was filmed in Salt Lake City, Utah. Former background member of High School Musical, Miss Jen, comes to work at East High as their drama teacher. Teacher decides to stage a performance of High School Musical, her first winter theater production out at the school. Students cast in the musical learn to navigate their personal relationships, also overcome a lot of the challenges they face in school and at home. Okay guys, and that is 41 TV shows that you need to binge watch while quarantined. Definitely recommend any more TV shows down below. I am always looking to watch new shows. I have nothing but time now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Go check out my Instagram, it's linked in the bio below. I'm not so good at posting, but like maybe I will be now, I don't know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.